Greetings. I trust that by the grace of God, we are all doing great. Yeah, so today we'll continue with what we have been discussing for days now. All right, so I will just do a brief recap of everything that we have been doing so that by watching the video, you'll be able to practice. Okay, so I'll begin by first of all setting up the page. So I spoke about how that if you want to set up the page, this is what we do. So doc type HTML, and remember that there is exclamation point beginning, and it's very important that we take note of that. So HTML opening tag and then HTML closing tag. And so everything that we will do will be embedded inside the HTML opening and closing tag. So over here, we have our head opening, and then also we have our head closing tag here. We have created a space because we will be putting other elements inside. So the title element is inside the head, okay. So we have the title, and then also we have our style. Okay, so I'll put the style here inside it. So style opening and then the style closing tag. Okay, so the title and the style must always be captured inside the head element. So the head opening and the head closing tag. Then finally, we go to our body. So we have the body opening and then the body closing tag. Okay, yeah. So I indicated that whatever we want people to see on our web pages must be captured inside the body tag. So if you don't put it inside the body opening and the body closing tags, it is not going to work. Okay, so we need to take note of that. So now when you're able to do this, then now you can see that you know how to set up the page. So this is what setting up the page is all about. Now that we have set up the page, let's proceed to save this file. Okay, so to save the file, we click on file, then we click on save as. Okay, then we choose a destination. So I will choose the desktop, and then I will name this index.html. Okay, and then at the save as type, I will change it to all files. Then I'll click on save. Okay, so I save it. So this is how we proceed to save. Now, what about if you want to put information on your web page? How do you go about it? So we mentioned that to put a paragraph on your web page, you have to begin with a P opening tag, and then you write whatever you want to write. When you are done with the paragraph, then you close the P tag. Okay, so I like to code because coding makes me sharper, clever, and exceptional. And exceptional. Okay, moreover, coding helps one to get an employable skill that one can make a living from. It is worth it knowing how to code and program. Okay, let me say, okay, there are so many programming languages out there, but we will focus on how to build a website. We realized that YouTube and Facebook were all built using this same HTML and CSS that we are learning. It can make one wealthy. Okay, so I'm done with the paragraph. So now I close it. I put it inside the P closing tag. All right. So now let's go and see. Okay, so let me group my files very well. So let me sort by date modified. So this is the index file. This is what we just created. Let me drag it and put it here. This is it. So now let's open it and see. Okay, so it has opened over here. Let me zoom it so you can see it very big on your screen. So this is what we have done. Okay, this is what we have done, and it has displayed on our web page over here, as we can all see. Okay, all right. Now, so this is how we go about putting text on our web page. Okay, so this is one paragraph. Now I can copy the whole thing, and now I'll come down and I will say paste. Okay, so now I have two paragraphs. Let's refresh and see. You see that I have two paragraphs. Okay, let me paste it again for the third time. Then now let's see what happens. So third time. Okay, so now we have three paragraphs. I took us through simple formatting that we can do with HTML. Okay, and so I indicated that if you want to create space, you can use break. Okay, the more breaks you put in your code, the more spaces you create. So let's see. Okay, you see that there's a space created over here. Now let me add another break again. I save, Control plus S, I save, and then now I refresh. You see that the gap is becoming wider. That is how it is. So you can use break to create spaces. Now, if I should copy the two, come down, and then I paste it, you see that the space will double. Okay, that's it. Okay, so you can use the break to the BR to create space. Mind you, it doesn't have a, a closing tag. Okay, all right. So apart from using the break to create space, you can also use the break to move a sentence to another line. So for example, this one, CSS that we are learning, it can make one wordy. If I want this, it can make one wordy to start on a new line. I will just put a break here before it. Okay. So then when I refresh, okay, this whole thing, this it can make one wordy. I'm bringing it to the next line. So let's refresh and see. You get it. You can make one word. It has come down. Okay. So we have to take note of all these things. So we use break to create spaces, and then also we use breaks to draw a sentence onto the next line. Okay, the next line. So we need to take note of that. And I also emphasize that if we want to make a word, a phrase, okay, a sentence, a paragraph, bold, there are two ways to do that. It's either you put the whole paragraph in a strong tag. So we have the strong opening and then the strong closing tag. So now when I refresh, you see that the first paragraph is bold. Okay. Another way of making it bold is putting the entire paragraph inside the B tag. So B opening and then the B closing tag. So any of them that you are conversant with, you can use it because you stand to achieve the same results. Similarly, if you want to make a word or a sentence, okay, slanted, you just have to put it in emphasis. So we have emphasis tag, emphasis opening, and then the emphasis closing tag. Remember that all closing tags have the forward slashes attached to them. Okay, this is very important. So now I refresh. You see that the whole paragraph is now slanted or italicized. Okay. Another way to make that possible is using the I, okay, the I italics. So instead of EM, you can equally use I and you will achieve the same results. You see that I've achieved the same results. Okay, for you to see that it worked, let me now bring this whole sentence that we have already bold or deepened. Let me make it slanted so that you see that the I worked. You get it. You get it. So this one it was already bold. Now I've made it slanted. Okay, so to make a word slanted, a sentence slanted, a paragraph slanted, just put it inside an emphasis tag or the eye, okay, the eye opening and the eye closing. Don't forget that the EM, which stands for emphasis, it also has the opening and then the closing tag. Okay. Now, if you want to underline, any word, okay, you can put that word inside the U tag. So U opening, because coding makes me sharper, clever, and exceptional. I want to underline that. Okay. So now I have this. Okay. So when I do this, it means that I want to make the highlighted portion underlined on our web page. Okay. So now let's see the effect. Let me come down. Okay. Yeah. So this is it. All right. So if you don't want this space and you want to clear, you want to remove the space, it's just by taking away the breaks, because we said that once the breaks are there, the spaces are created. So if you don't want it, you just clean it and then you refresh, and the spaces, the extra spaces that we created are gone. For every paragraph, there's a space at the top and there's a space below it. Every paragraph has a space above and a space below it, space above and a space below it. So these are the basic formatting stuff that we can do in HTML. Okay, so if we want to make our text bold, we can use strong or the B. Okay, if we want to make it slanted, we can use the I or the emphasis. If we want to underline anything, we put it inside the U tag. So the U opening and then the U closing tag will get the word, the phrase, the sentence, the paragraph to be underlined. So we need to take note of this. Now, having said this, let's now apply some basic CSS to our web page. Okay, let's now apply some basic CSS to our web page. So what are we going to do? We are going to give it a background color. Okay, so to give a background color, we call the body. Okay, so we say body, and then yeah, don't forget the curly bracket opening and the closing, and then you say background color. Remember to join, if the word you are calling, the command you are calling is two words, you have to join the two words with a hyphen, not underscore but a hyphen. That is how CSS works. So background color, I'll give it white smoke. Okay, white smoke, and then there's a margin on the background. So I remove it. So the margin 0 means that I don't want any margin. Okay, yeah. So you see that that space that was at the left side and the right side, they are gone. So now the words are extending all the way to the left margin to the right margin. So the margin is gone, and then you could see that the color I gave it, the background color, has also taken effect. If you want to see that it actually worked, let me give you a different color. Let me now say yellow. Okay, so now I save. So when I refresh, you will see the yellow background. So this tells us that the background color that I gave actually worked. So now let's change it back to white smoke so that we get to see that it worked. Now I told us that the white smoke helps is friendly with the eye. You get it? It's friendly with the eye. So if you have a lot of writings, a lot of information on your web page where you want your visitors to do a lot of reading, then you have to use the white smoke background color, as it is friendly with the eye. Okay, so when it comes to the body, these are the things that we can do. So we can give it a background color, and then we can also do the margin. Okay, now let's put some padding there. So padding, let me say 20 20 pixels. Okay, padding 20 pixels, you get it. So now there's a space. Okay, so the space from the edge to where the text starts is the 20 pixels that I've given. There's no rule that give 20 pixels. Just do what you think seem excellent, seem professional. Do what you think is okay with your professional standard. Okay, there's no rule. So when you give it 20 and you think that it is not good, you can change it. You can give it 30. You can even give it 15. It depends on how you want it to be. Okay, it depends on how you want it to be. So let's take note of that. It's very, 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 very important that we take note of that. Okay, now, so let's move forward. Another thing that I want us to do is to work on the text. Okay, the writings itself. So now the writing, you see that by default the color is black. Okay, so now let's change the color to blue. Okay, and it is a P, it is a paragraph, and so we call the P, we use the P to style it, and we don't put it in the angle bracket. So CSS doesn't use angle bracket. So now we just say P, and then I say color. So when I say color, I mean the color of the text. By default, it is black, but now I'm making it blue. Okay, I'm making it blue. So let's see. Let's see. So I have saved it. Control plus S. I refresh. Now it is blue. Do you get it? It is blue. Now, this is not the actual size of the text. Okay, if I move it back to 100%, you see this is the actual size of the text. And so, if it is too small and we want to increase it, then we call another command that we call font size. Okay, so now you say font size, let it be maybe 30 pixels. Okay, make it 30 pixels. Then let's refresh and see. Yeah, so this is 30 pixels. If you think that it is okay for you, then you leave it like that. So there's no rule that by force it should be 30 pixels. No, it depends on what you want. You know, you are focusing on eligibility. You don't want people to find it extremely difficult to read what you've written. Okay, so the padding is 20. If the space is okay for you, you maintain the 20. But if you still want to work on it, you can still work on it. You know, programming, you can go back and forth, back and forth. It is allowed. Okay, yeah. So now I've made it 50. I've made it 50. So now I think this one is okay. And then the font size is also 20. It's 20. Okay, the font size is 20. And so once I have called the P, this effect will apply to all the paragraphs, all the three paragraphs. Okay, all the three paragraphs. It will apply to it. There is another thing that I want us to take note of. Okay, and it has to do with the spaces between the lines of sentences. So when you look at this first line that I have highlighted, and then the second line, you realize that there's no enough space in between the lines of the sentences. So to create line spacing, okay, what we do is we say line height. Okay, line height. Let's say 1.6. 1.6. I told us that this one, it doesn't use pixels. Okay, so 1.6. You see that now the spaces in between the lines of the sentences are now widen up. So this one makes reading more fun. Okay, and easier. But mostly I use 1.8. So if I don't use 1.8, I use 1.6. So this is 1.8 for you. You can equally use this. Okay, you can equally use this. All right. Now, if you want to give the text a background color, okay, a background color, then you say background color. Which background color? Which background color? Let me say yellow. Okay, yellow. So yellow. Yeah. So this is the background color. This is the background color. Okay. But you realize that where the colors are starting from, and then where the text is also starting from is kind of the same. Okay, and there's no enough space between. So what we do is we can say margin, let margin be 50, let me say 30 pixels. So let's refresh and see. um no, this one didn't work. So this not margin per se. What margin did was it widened the space from the margin to where the writing starts. Okay, but let's do okay, we can just leave the margin, and then let's do padding. Let's do padding and say let padding be 70 pixels. Okay, 70 pixels. All right, so padding is 70 pixels. You get it. Yeah, so this is what we have. This is what we have now. So if you think that the space is too much, then the 70, you can do 40. So let's do 40 and see. Let's do 40. Yeah, I think 40 is okay. So this is 40 for us. This is 40. Yeah, so when it comes to styling our text, we can add margin, we can add padding, we can give our text color, we can give it a background color, we can increase the line height, and then also we can even change the font. Okay, we can change the font. So font, let me say Tahoma. Okay, let me say Tahoma. So let's see. Okay, um okay, let me call font family Tahoma. or let me say, let me do sans serif and see. So sans serif. Let me do this one and see if it will work here. All right, but you can also change the font. This is just to guide us, to let us know that we can also change the font, the actual writing style. Okay, so the same way we can change the font size is the same way we can also change the font. So this is very important. It's important that we take note of this. Okay, so then let's get a footer. Let's get a footer. Let's get a footer. So I will come back to my HTML over here, and then I will say footer. So footer opening and then footer closing tag. Let me put a text inside. So I will use H3, okay, H3 header for the footer. So I will say copyright 2026 all rights reserved. It's okay. Then now I close it. Whatever we open, we close. It's important that we take note of this. Okay. So now let's refresh. Yeah. So this is our footer, but let's style it. Let's give it a background color. Let's move the text to the middle, to the center. Okay, to the center. So now let's start it. So I'll call the footer. I will say footer. Then now I'll give the footer a height. I'll give it a height. Before I give the height, let me give background color so that you can see the height at work. So background color, let me say black. Okay, black. So now let's see background color. You see that? See the black has appeared. Okay. Then now let's give it height. Okay. So let's say height should be 70 pixels. Yeah. So that it goes up like this. Okay. Okay. Then now the color. When I say color, I'm talking about the writing itself. Okay. So color, let's say white, so that the text inside or the text on the footer will appear white. That is that. But we want the footer to extend to the very end of the margin. So both the left and the right margin. Okay. So let me call width and see width 100%. Okay, let me call width and see width. Okay, I didn't see it working over here. Okay, so the space, there's the space over there. So let me call margin. Okay, margin. Let me say 0, so that that space will go away. That space will go away. Okay, something is wrong somewhere. Okay, I'll check it. But let me move the text. So text align center, text align center, text align center. Okay, then let me create padding over here. So padding, let me say 50 pixels, so that the text will drop to the center. Yeah, so 50. Okay, let me say 40. Let me do 40 and see. Yeah, 40. Okay, 40. 40 is okay. All right, then what again? Okay, let me call the test. Let me call the test. Okay, the footer background color is black, the height, then I've given the color, text align center, padding, margin 0, control plus S. Okay, the space, there's a space over there. I don't want to see that space. I don't want to see that space. So this P here. Let me remove the margin from there. Let me see. Okay. But there's a margin, there's a space. Let me see where I created that space. Oh, okay. So that space, this space that is left there, margin cannot remove it because I used padding to create that space. So if I want that space to go away, I need to clean the padding over there. You get it? You see that now it has gone away. You see, so coding takes time, and you have to do this. When you do it, you check. You do it, you check to see the effect you want to see. So if you don't see the effect you are looking for, then you have to try again. Sometimes you need to go back and check what the codes you've written to see, maybe probably you have made a mistake somewhere, or you have brought something that you shouldn't have brought or something. Okay, so then you make corrections. So the most important thing here is understanding the tool, so that when you are calling a command, you should know what that command is going to do. Okay, now even the yellow background, I can make the edges curved. Okay, the yellow background of the text. So to do that, I will just say border radius. Okay, border radius, let me say 5%. Okay, border radius 5%. You can also use pixels to do that. Okay, so you see that there's a curve. There's a curve, the edges are curved. So now let me create a space. Let me create space. Yeah, let me create margin so that the text will move away from the margin. So I will give it 30 pixels. Okay, now I will save it because the yellow is too close. It has hit the left edge, so I want to remove it. I want to push it out from the margin a bit, and that is why I have called what the margin. That's why I've called the margin. So you see, this is what I have done so far. If you don't like the yellow background color for the text, you can change it to dark slate blue. This is another color you can use. Let's see. Okay, so then you see that the text color is not blending well. So instead of saying the text color should be blue, now you can say let the color appear white, the color of the text. Okay, let it be white, like this. Okay, so it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. At least you should understand the tools and what effects you want to create. Let's give a heading. Okay, let's give a heading. So to give a heading, I come here. So I give it H1 heading, and then I say, let me say benefit of coding. Then now I'll close the H1. I'll close it. So benefit of coding. Okay, yeah, benefit of coding. But look at where it is. So we need to work on it. We need to style it so that it blends well with the page. So let's move the heading to the center. Okay, remember it is H1. So when we are styling, it is H1 we will call. So H1, and then we say text align, let's say center. Please check the spelling of center. It is the American spelling, not the British. Okay, so let's see whether it has worked. Okay, then let's underline it. Let's underline. So to underline, sorry, we say text decoration. Then we say underline. Okay, text decoration, underline, so that the heading will be underlined like this. Yeah. And then, so anytime you want to underline something using CSS, remember the command is text decoration. Then you say underline. Then let's give it a background color. So background color, check the spelling of color. Okay, it's very important. So background color, let's say, okay, let me say green. Let me say green. Okay, background color, let me say green. All right. Okay, so green, and then let's do margin. Margin, let's do 30%. Let's do 30% because I don't want the background color of the H1 heading to extend all the way to the margin. So no, 30 is too much. So now let's say 5%. 5%. Let's refresh and see. Yeah, so this is 5%. 5%. Then let's give it 9%. Let's see what happens with the 9%. Okay, so benefit of coding. Let's give it some padding so that the text inside there will get a breathing space. So padding, let's say padding should be 20 pixels. Okay, 20 pixels. Yeah. It's nice. It's okay. At least you need to know what the tools what are doing, what the command are doing. So when you look at it and you call, you should know why you are calling it. Okay, you should know why you are calling it. Okay. Let's remove the background color from the text, the blue color. Let's do away with that. So the background color, just let's clean that one. Let's see, so that we no longer have a background color. Okay. So now the white color of the text should change. So instead of saying white, let's now go back and do our default, our black. Our black. Yeah, that's it. You see, this one is better. Mhm. Yeah, but the space over here is still 5%. You know that when I said the H1 header, when I said margin should be 9%, it means that space at the top will be 9, space at the right 9, space at the left 9, space at the bottom 9. But I don't want to create extra space at the bottom. So I will say padding margin top. Okay, so margin top. Margin top, even the 9 is too much. So margin top, I will say 2%. Okay, I will say 2%. Margin top, 2%. Then let me give margin left and then margin right. So margin left, margin left. Let me give margin left 10%. Okay, and then let me give margin right also 10%. So equal space at the left and then also at the right side. Okay. So that is that. Okay. So now this is what we have, but the spaces are too wide, and it is like that. Let me zoom out and see. Okay, so this is pure 100%. Okay, so that is padding. Okay, so we have padding 40. Let's do 20 and see. Let's do 20. You get it? So I've closed the spaces a bit. The 40 was too much. Okay, so this is what we have, benefit of coding. Then, so there are some web pages that when you visit, you will see it like this. Okay, you will see it like this. So when you know how to do these things, at least you are good to go. Okay, if you know how to give a background color, how to style your headings, and then put paragraphs and do some footers and those kind of things, you are good to go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about in 2 minutes is how to add an image and then how to make a link. Okay, so if I want to make a link, to create a link, over here, employable skills. Okay, employable skill. I want to make employable skill a link so that when we click on it, it will send us to YouTube. So anchor href is equal to the two quotation signs. Okay, so we have the anchor opening tag beginning, and since I want employable skill to be a hyperlink, I come after the skill, then now I close the anchor tag. Okay, so when I save Ctrl+S and I refresh, you see that it has become a link, but as I'm clicking, it is not going anywhere because we haven't specified the reference, the link where we should navigate to when we click. And so over here, I come and then I specify that when we click, it should send us to youtube.com. So now I save, I go in, I refresh, and then when I hover, you observe down here, you see the YouTube link will show over there. You see it. Good. So now when I click, it will open and send us straight to YouTube. See, YouTube has opened. Okay, YouTube has opened. So this is how we create a link. So remember, it is what anchor href. Okay, anchor href. So this is the anchor the anchor tag. Okay, so the anchor opening tag and then the anchor closing tag. So anchor opening tag all the way to this side, that is the anchor opening, and then the anchor closing tag is here. If I want only employable to be a link, then I'll remove the closing tag from skill and then bring it here just at the end of what employable, so that when I refresh, only employable is now a link. So when I click on it, it will send me to YouTube. See, YouTube is what is opening. So that is what we need to take note of. And then finally, let me talk about how to add an image. Okay, how to add an image. So to add an image, let me add an image below the heading. So I'll come here. To add an image, remember, we indicated that the code is what? IMG. The IMG stands for image. And then SRC stands for what? Source. So image source. Then our two quotation sign. That's it. So this is the code. So there are two ways to add an image. You can get an image from the internet, or you can just add an image on your local computer. Okay, so let me visit my local computer and see if I have an image that we can use, that we can fall on. Okay, yeah, so I have an image here, this image. So I'll right click on this image, and then I'll click this copy as path. Okay, so copy as path, and then I will paste. Remember, when you use copy as path, you get two double quotation marks. So you need to what? Erase one. Other than that, the image will not display. So I will now refresh. You see the image has what? The image has appeared. Okay. Similarly, if I want an image from the internet, I will just search for my name. Okay, then this is the image. I right click on it, and then I click on copy image address. So now instead of using the local one, I'm now going to paste the online link over here. So now I'll paste. Okay, this is the link. The plenty things. Okay, so now I'll go in there, I'll refresh. You see the image is working. Good. So you can use an image from your personal computer, or you can use an image online. So the way I did it is the same way to go about it, and you will get an image displayed. So if you want to start this image, um, we can go to our style, and then we will call the image. So img. Okay, that is the image. Then we say um, we can okay, so for the image, um, let's do, okay, let's do background color. Okay, let's just do background color. Let's do background color for the image. So let me say the background color for the image should be brown. Okay, should be brown. Okay, so um and then, okay, I didn't see the brown. So okay, let me just do margin and padding. I'll pause the video because we are almost done with 40 minutes, so that when we begin again, then we'll go into how to format the image. So margin, let me say margin should be 40 pixels. Okay, margin, I'll call it margin left. Okay, margin left, because I want 40 pixel space to be created at the left side. So that's the 40 you see over there. That's the 40 you see over there. Let me add padding again. Let me say padding 40, so that I get 40. You get it. So if you don't want the effects, you can just clean it. Okay, so we are almost done with 40 minutes. Let me pause here so I can upload the video to YouTube, and then get you the link. When we get to meet, we will focus on how to style our images. Okay, but don't forget the last time what I taught you. Okay, border, um border. Okay, border, you can say solid, let's say 5 pixels solid red. Okay, 5 pixels solid red. So that is the border. You see, you remember I taught you this, the border. Okay, and then I also taught you border radius. Okay, border radius and some of the CSS things you can do. So let me give it 30 pixels, so that we get sharper curvature of the edge of the of the border. Mhm. You get it. Mhm. So you just let me save this just 40 minutes. So let me just save it and leave it here. We'll continue with our image styling later. Thank you.